Namaste. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing 52 minutes with Psychic Frank's Mystery School. Thank you, thank you. And so much is going on. And Aretha passed on this morning. It's I'm here the first and the third Thursdays at 5, and right after my show, stick around because Denise Dory will be here with Liberal Buzz. So eclipse season is over. The last one just happened. Happened on the 11th. That was the last of the 3, and that one was a new moon Leo one. That was the Leo solar eclipse and the last. And that was all about, before that one we had the August 16th Virgo new moon, lunar eclipse, and that was all about tidying up, cleaning up things. And so Aretha's gone, and yesterday, Wednesdays at the public library here in San Francisco, they have book sales, and they have these big tables, like folding tables, full of all kinds of big, thick art books and little pamphlets. Everything's $1, and I just love it because I'm an avid reader. I was as a kid I never read, but now I read a lot. I love reading. I love reading what I'm interested in. That's the thing is, I wasn't interested in anything they told me I had to read, and now I read. I can't read enough. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s "Why We Can't Wait," and I picked this up for $1, and I said, what a jewel. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that way these people will get to the promised land. And what's in here is just one sentence. I just want to dedicate this to the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. It says, this is a letter, chapter 5, letter from Birmingham jail. And this was from his clergymen, fellow dark, people of color clergymen were telling him he was wrong to go picket, protest for civil rights, and he was in jail. So he wrote this. Picture that, man, he's a sainted being, was in this prison, in this jail, in the Birmingham jail, writing this. And I'm reading this, and I'm like, wow. It says, moreover, I am cognizant of the interrelatedness of all communities and states. I cannot sit idly by in Atlanta and not, because they told him he had no business being in Birmingham. His business was in Atlanta. And I left that out. That's part to get the whole just to where his head was there, just there. Was not concerned about what happened in Birmingham. Yeah, I cannot sit idly by in Atlanta and not be concerned about what happens in Birmingham. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Never again can we afford to live with the narrow, provincial, quote-unquote, outside agitator, unquote, idea. Anyone who lives inside the United States can never be considered an outsider anywhere within its bounds. And then he goes, you deplore the demonstrations taking place in Birmingham, but your statement, I am sorry to say, fails to express the similar concern for the conditions that brought about the demonstrations. I would love to read this beautiful piece of work, but I'm sure you can get a copy of it, but I got an original paperback. I'm so thrilled. I'm happy to possess this, and I feel the vibes from it. My senses are get more and more out there. I was walking home from the market today, and I was smelling fennel, and I looked like, ways down, and there was some fennel growing on the side. So I guess the wind was blowing my way. Once you start opening up psychically, it just goes on and on. I did Omarosa's and Donald Trump's chart. I want to get to that. Omarosa said that no one was she was the only person of color in the whole West Wing. There was one not important Gopher guy. Yeah, Kelly Conway said, yeah, that there was one, but he was just I don't know what he did, but he was not she was the only big paying person of color, and she said, if we are not if we're not in the room, then we're not, something about, if we're not at the table, we're not going to get served. And I said to myself, well, welcome to the cannabis community. We've been saying that for the last 17 years. We've never had a place at the table. Whenever we go to City Hall here in San Francisco, we've never had a mayor that would sit and listen to us. We've had Jane Kim and Mark Leno when they were supervisors. Now Leno is up in Sacramento. But that's all I've never seen. And now we have Newsom would never stay in the same room in City Hall with us. As soon as our agenda came up, because I guess if you, the only thing I could come up with, my educated guess is, it makes it harder to throw us under the bus if we have a face and a personality. So they don't want to hear from us, So, let me get my little violin, Omarosa. We here in San Francisco who have been working on civil rights for cannabis, as I said last time I was here, no money in a cure. Keep them sick, keep them trapped, keep them in pain. Well, there's also, following that thought through, there's definitely no money in peace. Oh, yeah, ask Halliburton, Richard Cheney. He's laughing all the way to the bank with his 10th heart, whatever. I don't know how many hearts the man's had. Man with an artificial heart, talking about blood on his hands. Yeah, that's a real shame. But the shame is that we've got like Eisenhower's final address to the American people. Will keep a close eye. I'm paraphrasing here, but it was sort of like keep a close eye on the industrialized military complex. And now it's like it's out of control. So Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I love Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's 85, and she's going to at least be keeping there until she doesn't plan on even thinking of leaving until she's 90. She's the only bright woman. I can't say that, but she's a metaphysical dream come true, because she's in a place of power. You can't get more powerful than the Supreme Court, and she's a sage, and she's the only one that's talking about the pendulum law, which I think is it's a law that I think it was either Galileo. It is the movement in one direction that causes an equal movement in the other direction. It is a natural law discovered by Galileo and can be applied to various streams such as politics, sociology, and psychology. Moreover, it describes the continuous swinging motion pendulum that is created by the acquired momentum and the act of gravity. So, yes, we're gone right than America's ever. I mean, we've got a literal fascist dictator, the Trumpetola. I've just read Michael Wolff's book, Fire and Fury, and what made me get to read it was I saw the president of Iran reading a copy, because it's been translated into Farsi and all these major languages, and all these guys in robes, leaders, or all these major countries, hot countries, are all reading this, and so I had to read it, and it's a real page turner, and it just describes a really pathetic, sick man. But the last sentence, I don't want to spoil it for you, but the last sentence of the book is a quote by Breitbart, by Bannon, and he says, where is that? Well, he says it's going to be some wild poop. I can't say the word, but that's his word. And he predicts that what's going to bring the whole thing down, and the whole is the money laundering and being so Stay tuned. It's getting hot, hot, hot now. And also, thank you, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, for that. And, if you don't believe me, look it up. It's the pendulum. The pendulum, as far right as it swings. Because that last election, everybody was saying Hillary's not left again. Hey, we went center right with Barry. I love Barack Obama, but for me, I believe the chart. When you change your name, everything changes. I'm not changing my name. That's another story. I was thinking of changing my last name, but I'm not going to do that. See, it's Mercury and 7 other planets retrograde. It's time to rethink, revisit, reclaim. Okay, before I get to the astrology thing, another public service here is The Grifters. Came out in 1990. Angelica Houston, John Cusack, Annette Bening. It is a classic. It's such a great, great dark movie, but it's all a grifter. And not most people understand what a grifter is. A small-time con. This is the movie. John Cusack. A small-time con man has torn loyalties between his estranged mother and new girlfriend. Annette Bening and Angelica Houston plays his estranged mother. I mean, I haven't seen that for a long time, but it's one of those movies that like stays in your brain. It's like jaw-dropping grifters, throwing their kids under the bus, are high-stakes grifters with their own angles to play. Yeah, and that's what we got now. We got these professional grifters, invading the White House, throwing democracy into the shredder. It is a time to be alert, get involved. And enthusiasm is contagious. Be a carrier. Yeah, LeBron James, downwardly mobile. Remember, I've done a few shows after that Tesla, that midlife crisis of vulgar, was that $1 billion rocket, Tesla and a robot going to Mars and beyond. A fraction of that money could have done so much to build schools, like LeBron James. Like LeBron James is living a good life. I don't think there's nothing he doesn't have that he doesn't own. But yet he has, whatever he does, he has time to do all these downwardly mobile things to build schools for young men of color. George Washington said, make the most of the hemp seed, ... sow it everywhere. George Washington, 1794. Then we get up to year 2000, where we have the drug czar, General Barry McCaffrey. We will not permit American farmers to grow hemp. Drug czar. Yeah, because it's healthy. It's a healthy habit to have. They want you to drink alcohol and pop pills and own diseases. Every time I watch TV and I see a commercial, it's all about, I've got this. They want you to own that. There's no money in a cure, so stay well. Letters from Birmingham, Injustice, that's a good thing. Yeah, standing on the Broadbart stairs that October morning, Bannon smiled and said, quote unquote, it's going to be wild as S-word, poop. That's the last sentence of the book. So they're gonna, Bill Maher had this thing where he said it's gonna be, you're under arrest. No, you're under arrest. But they are going to have to take the military in there. They're going to have to drag him out like a screaming, whiny witch that he is. Oh, he'll be the first one to scream and yell. Everybody's talking about this on the buses, in the market. Everybody agrees he's not going to take the high road like Richard Nixon and get out and wave goodbye and say, you're not going to have Nixon to kick around anymore. No, they're going to have. They're going to have to drag him out and all his cohorts. Oh, it's going to be rich. I'm so glad I live in San Francisco. Art is the highest task of the proper metaphysical activity in this life. Nietzsche said that. Once I quoted Nietzsche and I said, well, he said he was a jerk. Well, he said a lot of stupid things. He also said a lot of bright things. So. He's a mystery. Oh yeah, KSAN, before radio got bought up by corporations, KSAN used to be really, really cool. in the 70s, late 60s, Alan Watts would talk, we would huddle around the radio and smoke our joints, and, it was just, I lived for radio. Who had TVs, We lived in communes, and we listened to KSAN, and they used to say on the news, don't forget now, if you don't like the news, go out and make some of your own. So, do it, get involved. As James Brown said in 71, Funk Power, 1970. Get up, get into it, get involved. Aretha, bless your soul, sweetheart. I still am numb. I was so sad today, because she was 6 years my senior, 6.5 years. I'm a few months away from being 70. She was 76. So, I've often said on the show, any good in me, any wisdom that I acquired came from Motown. Standing in the shadow of love here. Yeah, Donald Trump calls the press the enemy of the peeps. And today, all the major newspapers in America said, no. That's like the Hitler's handbook. He who owns much has much to fear. Okay, well, that's enough. Carl Jung said God enters through the womb. Okay, there's something else I really want to talk about is awakening, and then we have plenty of time to get to the astrology stuff. The new earth here is Eckhart Tolle, awakening to your life's purpose. And then I found Man's Search for Ultimate Meaning, Victor E. Frankl. A psychological exploration of the religious quest. Now, this cat lived around the time of Freud and Jung, psychoanalysis, post-Victorian, late 18th century, early 1900s there, and it's all about, I believe, what's going on now is people don't have meaning. They have no meaning in their life. He says. The joy of being, which is the only true happiness, cannot come to you from any form, possession, achievement, person or event, through anything that happens. That joy cannot come to you ever. It emanates from the formless dimension within you, from consciousness itself, and thus is one with who you are. Allowing the diminished ego, it's just beautiful stuff here. He talks about if you haven't been diminished at all, in fact, you've expanded. Yeah, he talks about the powerful spiritual practices consciously to allow the diminished ego when it happens without attempting to restore it. Yeah, people, it is much more interested in preservation than the truth. This is the preservation of the psychology. One of the most common ego repair mechanisms is anger, which causes a temporary but huge ego inflation, and repair mechanism can make sense of the perfect ego. Now, this part right here, it says acknowledging, awakening the outgoing movement. What I call, until now, human intelligence was no more than a minute minute aspect of the universal intelligence has been distorted and misused by the ego. I call that intelligence of the service of madness. Intelligence in the service of madness. Splitting the atom requires great intelligence. Using that intelligence for building and stockpiling atom bombs is insane, or at best extremely unintelligent. Stupidity is relatively harmless, but intelligent stupidity is highly dangerous. This intelligent stupidity, for which one could find countless obvious examples, is threatening our survival as a species. Well, anyway, I was looking for this part where he talks about how unhappiness or negativity is a disease on our planet. What pollution is done on the outer level, negativity on the inner level. It is everywhere, not just in places people don't have enough, but even more so where they have more than enough. Is that surprising? Question mark. The affluent in this world is even more deeply identified with form and more lost in content and more trapped in ego. People believe themselves to be dependent on what happens for their happiness. That is to say, dependent on form. They don't realize that what happens is the most unstable thing in the universe. It changes constantly. They look upon the present moment as either marred by something that has happened and shouldn't have or deficient because something that has not happened but should have. And so they miss the deeper perfection that is inherent in life, the perfection that is always already here, that lies beyond the happiness that is not happening, beyond form. So anyway, I was looking for this thing about, oh, here it is. Well, anyway. Okay, well, anyway, it's all about, we'll get to that, but we'll get to this in 1 minute. But now that I found it, I'll just open it. Okay, the reason drug addicts exist. Now, that should pick up your antennas there. Now, okay, Freud and Jung, they, like they say, Freud invented insanity. Before him, he was all sexuality. And they both, Freud and Jung, didn't agree on much, but they both sort of agreed if you had a good shrink, he was going to be the perfect parent. No matter what you do, he'll love you unconditionally. Because according to, them both, really, it was all about enjoying people to enjoy pleasure. Where this guy, Frankel, a contemporary of theirs, didn't get much press, but I believe he was the wisest out of those whole cats. I mean, the whole pharmaceutical thing today is all, the medical community, should we go with Freud or should we go with Jung? Jung, no, he wouldn't sell enough drugs. Freud, oh yeah. So, anyway. But this guy didn't even get on the board. You have to really look for him. And he said, in a way, he was from Vienna, and was upstaged by Freud. Same period, though. They were classmates, I guess. In a way, the existential vacuum, excuse me, may well be considered a sociogenic neurosis. No doubt our industrialized society is out to satisfy all human needs, and its companion, consumer society. Now, Kerry Walters from Gettysburg University, religious philosopher, spiritual philosopher, religious philosopher rather, gives lectures on YouTube, Kerry Walters, on the consumer society. All of his students understand they were born into a consumer society, and how do we, remain a consumer society. But listen to Kerry Walters. He's a professor who's really, when I read this, and this was written a long time ago, I said, wow, Kerry Walters talks about the consumer society. Even more out to create even new needs to satisfy, but the most human need, the need to find and fulfill a meaning in our lives, is frustrated by this society. In the wake of the industrialized, urbanized trends to uproot man from traditions and to alienate him from those values which are transmitted by the traditions. Understandably, it is in particular the young generation who is most affected by the resulting feelings and meaninglessness, as could be evidenced by the ephemeral research. More specifically, such phenomena as addiction, aggression, and depression are in the final analysis due to a sense of futility, period. Again, to restrict myself to one quotation, semicolon, of the drug addict studied by Stanley Krippner, Krippner, quote unquote, things seemed meaningless, unquote, to less than 100%. Why bother? It's like meaningless. Society tells you, it's just reinforced and reinforced. So get a meaningful life. Do something meaningful with your life, I love Aretha Franklin found her meaning for her life. Everybody's got a different meaning. Not everybody's going to be, but there could be a meaning on bringing joy into someone's life. Make someone happy just for a minute, Don't kill a spider, put him in a piece of paper and put him outside. Life, have a respect for life. The truth is inseparable from who you are. Yes, you are the truth. If you look for it elsewhere, you will be deceived every time. The very being that you are is truth. Jesus tried to convey that when he said, I am the way and the truth and the life. These words uttered by Jesus are one of the most powerful and direct pointers to the truth, if understood correctly. I mean, the Bible is the most misunderstood, pimped, more blood has been shed over that that Bible, man. I'm not in favor of book burning, but boy, that one I wouldn't cry. That one got torched. But that's one of the teachings that's most misinterpreted. However, they become a great obstacle. Jesus speaks of the innermost I am, the essence, identity of every man and woman, every life form, in fact. He speaks of the life that you are. Some Christian mystics have called it the Christ within. I do that a lot. Buddhists call it your Buddha nature. For Hindus, it's the Atman, for the indwelling God. When you are in touch with that dimension within yourself, and being in touch with it is your natural state in some miraculous achievement, all your actions and relationships will reflect the oneness of that with all of life that you sense deep within. This is love. Law, commandments, rules, regulations are necessary for those who are cut off from who they are, the truth within. They prevent the worst excesses of the ego, and often they don't even do that. Whew. This is Eckhart Tolle, by the way, so don't be hating me. Love and do what you will, said St. Augustine. Words cannot get much closer to the truth than that. Amen. Amen. Yeah, you don't need a lawyer to tell you don't kill, don't do that, you know. So we'll get back on that. Pisces full moon coming up. Okay, so we just had the last of the 3 eclipses. Eclipse season is over for the year. And Mars is squaring, Mars is going to back up into Capricorn, sowing the ground for February of next year, when we're gonna go plant all new seeds, and by then I believe Donald Trump will be history. A bad dream. You know, we have to come this close to the epithesis. You know, to the what do you call it? Not epithesis. There, yeah. Where you're off the cliff, you know, you come so close. Precipice. The precipice. We've gone right to the ends and look over, and then the angel's pulling us back now. Okay, so full moon coming up, February. This is, my favorite writer didn't show up this month, but they have some other people here. Diana, Meg, and this I'm reading from the Mountain Astrologer, on sale everywhere. And this is for August 26th. The full moon magnifies bringing matters to a head. Yeah, this is going to be in California here on the West Coast. We're talking about 4:56 a.m. And that's going to be a Sunday. So when you go to bed Saturday night the 25th, the moon will be in Pisces. And then the full moon will be 5:56. So that's just before 5 a.m. So most of us will be in that unconscious, in an altered state of consciousness called the dream state, the dream school, earth school there. Yeah, the sun will be 3 degrees Virgo. It's time to clean up, time to tidy up, inside and out, you know, clean up your belief systems. You know, a lot of people still believe it's one damn thing after another. They don't understand. Mars will trigger the last degrees of Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. It comes in to plow the fields so that when Uranus goes back into Aries in November, we will be ready to plant seeds. Yeah, because, I had it wrong a few minutes ago. Yeah, be wary of being irritated. You could be easily irritated. And this was written actually about. Listen to this, and then I'll tell you who wrote it. Okay, Pence. I might as well tell you, because otherwise I'll never do it. Pence, you know, Vice President Pence, sicko Pence, and Bill Clinton. Our leaders must either act to restore the luster and dignity of the institution of the presidency, or we can be certain that this is only the beginning of an even more difficult time for our land. And then Trump calls Sessions just that Klansman, Jefferson Beauregard Sessions. He calls him Benjamin Button. Now Benjamin Button was actually, I never saw the movie, but I think I think he was an endearing guy. There's nothing endearing about that little Nazi, you know. Yeah, virtue. Nobody talks about virtue, morality, an order of angels, celestial heresy, you know, a manly strength or courage. Yeah, what's going on with Omarosa? She's into actually, she's in a 9-year. Omarosa, if you're watching this, you should be detangling yourself this year. On a daily basis, yeah, she's got a lot of a mystical property. She's got Pluto in the 12th house, conjunct her Libra rising, Libra Pluto, conjunct her ascendant, and yeah, she's a femme fatale. The Velvet Underground did that. She's a femme fatale. Yeah, she's got a strong Venus, Mars in Taurus too. So she took no vows of poverty in this life. So anyway, yeah, so Pluto is only 19 degrees now, retrograde. It'll be in a couple of years. Actually, she'll start feeling it in 2 years. She'll have Pluto transiting her Venus. So she's already, Pluto is already conjuncting her Venus, so she's already starting to feel that. Pluto brings, like, Pluto's a planet of death, destruction, and rebirth, and nothing even remotely resembles what it used to look like before Pluto. Oh, there was this book, I knew I left it home. I'll bring it next time. And it has all the planets and it's so easy. There's like a little sentence next to every planet about when a planet is transiting, how that's affecting you. And I looked at it and I said, no, my bag is full. I forgot, just now I remembered that. I said it out loud so I won't forget to bring it next time. So anyway, her Venus, this is where it gets really good. In her natal birth chart, your birth chart is your like cosmic fingerprint. It's where the planets were, right over your head. Horoscope, that means hour of your birth, you know. And Donald Trump has like Saturn and Venus, 23, 25 degrees Cancer in the 11th house. So that's sort of like driving with the brakes on. He's his own worst enemy, as we're seeing now. I think a lot of rich guys, you know, like being abused and like to be self-destruct. You know, they want that thrill. You know, of what bigger thrill than turning a democracy into a banana republic, a fascist banana republic. But it ain't gonna happen. So anyway, her Venus is right in the opposition of his Venus. But his Venus conjunct Saturn. So her Venus is in opposition. So there's a really awareness now of, she's in for the long haul. She's got a lot of earth going on. And actually what's going on here on August 26th now, we've got like 7 planets in Earth. That's a lot, you know, that's a lot. I've made some notes about that. And one second, please. Okay, August. Oh, just bear with me. This is kind of rude. I don't mean to be rude. Okay, here we go. August 11th. And here we go to, here's maybe the 26th. Oh, where are we now? The 26th. Sunday. The Pisces full moon illuminates the pre-dawn skies at 4:56 a.m. on Sunday, highlighting the need to balance the practical and the mystical in our lives. The heightened a lot of people are having nowadays, things are so accelerated, these contemporary mystical experiences that you can't even tell your best friend about because it's reheating the best coffee you ever had, and it's impossible to do. You know, we're in the midst of the beginning of the communication evolution. These last a long time, like the agricultural evolution, the industrial evolution. They both brought us good stuff, and a lot of bad stuff. Like agricultural evolution brought us all kinds of stuff, like poisoning our food, we'll leave it at that. And the Industrial Revolution brought us industry, but it also brought us strip mining and out of control labor law stuff. Well, now the communication evolution now, this is getting off. We're seeing the shadow of it, but I believe through this evolution of communication, we can make good all the mad mistakes that the last two evolutions. We can redo this. You know, so because with communication now, knowledge is spreading. You know, right now we're seeing, you know, we're feeling it out. You know, yeah, because the universe is all about unconditional love. You know, the universe is totally. This is the densest planet. This is Earth. It says it all. You know, this is. Yeah, it says if you realize how powerful your thoughts are, you would never think a negative thought. Yeah, so dig yourself, you know, give yourself a little pop quiz during the day and say, wow, do I want that to manifest in my life? Well, I was just joking. So many people, I hear people say things and I'll say, hey, what did you just say? Oh, it was just a joke. Well, the universe doesn't have a sense of humor. The soul is an obedient servant, will give you to the letter whatever passes through your lips. So, you know, think about that. You know, some people say, once this guy said, "What is it? Everything means something to you?" Yeah, you bet your biffy it does. Yeah, stop acting so small. You are the universe in a static motion. Yeah. I found a Bob Marley quote. Oh, there's a thing going on at the library, a new campaign, Life, Liberty, and Libraries. Because these people, the tech people want to eventually get rid of libraries. They don't understand about tangible, you know, tactile, having a book. I can't read glossy stuff, I'll vomit, you know. I could do like for a little while on a computer, but I don't think anybody can replace the book. No, yeah. Okay. What do we have here? Yeah, people say, are you going to go back on Facebook, Twitter, or anything? I go, I've been there, done that. No, I got my life threatened enough in this world. I don't need. Yeah, I've had some really rough experiences in Facebook. I don't know. You know, I have a lot of friends. You know, some of them musicians on the road, and they just. Yeah, I think my personal opinion here is that Facebook demeans the word friend. To me, a friend is, you know, yeah, the world's just friends. I haven't met yet, but, you know, I think there's a lot of taking emotional hostage going on. There's a whole lot of sick stuff going on Facebook, and the whole thing about friending and unfriending is like, I think it degrades the whole word friend. Oh yeah, I think, you know, there's no doubt about it. The end is coming in for Donald Trump, and excuse me, and I believe he wears those freakishly long ties. I don't think it's to cover up his big gut. I think subconsciously, on some level, I think he knows, he plots things out, and then he times for when I think he knows that any second he might be forced to hang himself, and he wants to make sure he's got a long enough tie. I really believe that. You know, the Russian, the Gestapos, the big generals, and the Nazis, when they knew it was, they all carried a little cyanide pill in their little pouches, and a lot of them, you know, would, you know, when the GIs were, you know, coming at the door, they, you know, so I'm not saying that to be vicious. I really believe that might be part of it, because he knows that any second, I don't think they're going to take him out alive. I don't think they'll take him out alive. The man is not playing anywhere near a full deck. And it's, you know, if you want to, Abraham Lincoln or somebody said, if you want to judge a man's character, give him power. Well, this guy was given power by the angels to show us, make an example. See, nobody even thinks the Holocaust ended. See, unless a lot of people, the wisdom dies with them. And And now we're getting to see what the years, just 2 years before the Holocaust, the Nazi took over. This is what was going on. Exactly what's going on now was going on when Adolf Hitler was brainwashing the tribalness, the lowest denominator of human existence. Things are, Einstein said, things are infinite, the universe and human stupidity. Two things are infinite, the universe and human stupidity, and I'm not sure about the universe. And JFK, and they said, those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. We cannot allow them to reduce us to violence. We have to take the high road. No mud on the high road. No matter, like Gandhi, like we have to be violent, civil, non-violent, excuse me. My subconscious is so Freudian slip there. Hey, don't put me on a pedestal. I got to deal with this all the time and remind myself that, okay, so August 22nd. Anyone picturing, another big date you want to keep in mind is the 6th of next month, September, because that's when Saturn goes direct after 5 months of being retrograde. Saturn in Capricorn, since the Pisces moon coming up on that Sunday, the 26th of this month, August, sextile Saturn in Capricorn, issues of practicality, especially time and other limitations, presents opportunities for positive change. Perhaps lifestyle elements need a tweak. I think that's pretty superficial. Let's see if they can redeem themselves on the overall page here. Yeah, they lost some real talent, and I believe they'll get some better talent. I'm talking about the Mountain Astrology editors. I love it, but yeah, they're going through a transition too. August 19th. What did I say? September 6th. Okay. Saturn completes its nearly 5-month retrograde period in Capricorn on September 6th, giving the go-ahead to business concerns that have been on hold since April 17th. And Pluto, the planet... See, Saturn's the hand of destiny. It can be depressing. It has like a heaviness to it. Nobody's happy when Saturn, even if it brings you a gift, it's like after Saturn gets away, you get to really enjoy it. But Saturn just is like the lead balloon at a party, The older you get, the nicer Saturn is to you, though. And if you're having a rough time with Saturn, it's the structure of your life. It takes 30 years to go around the wheel. I think nowadays people are getting 3 Saturn returns, 29, 59, and 89. Oh yeah, so nearly 5-month retrograde period in Capricorn on September 6th, given the go-ahead of business. And then, and Pluto, the planet of death, destruction, and rebirth. Yeah, Pluto brings these, nothing resembles what it used to look like, but they don't exactly, these changes don't come up and bite you on the butt. It's like molasses on a cold winter's day. Come on, Pluto, So, everybody looks when I do the cards. Well, I want to make sure I have enough time for the cards. So Pluto's forward journey through Capricorn, interpreted by its retrograde phase that began on April 22nd, resumes on the 30th. So but right now there's a lot of planets in Earth, so it's time to make things real, bring them into reality. I believe when you're saying your affirmations 500 times, I don't expect you to sit around and count them, but just, when your mind's going into that nasty place or a negative place, get to the helm of that ship and say to yourself something as simple as, life is wonderful. But, you gotta feel it at the time, like I play with my parrot a lot. I have a parrot or any animals, and I'm always, whenever I'm with an animal, that's when life is more wonderful for me. And so, or I remember being with remember a wonderful time when you say life is wonderful. Life is wonderful. Everything is perfect in my world. Make room for the paradoxes. Let's see what we need to know about America, United States of America. Let's see America's chart. Here we are, July 4th. Okay, so all this Pluto energy is opposite on Mercury. So if we're moving forward, see, that's the thing with 8th house, 2nd house. You look back, everything turns to garbage. We have to keep on going forward and make our courage bigger than our fear. Life is wonderful. Everything is perfect in my world. You don't have to understand it. It just has to feel right. And we're always moving into greater good. And what do my readers need to know about what's going to happen to this dangerous, dangerous madman who's somehow, I'm never going to call him the president. He's an illegitimate president, which makes all of his appointments illegitimate. And we need a do-over. Okay, so let's see what I'm getting here. Past experiences, expectations, work to be done, final outcome, and the results. Okay, I did a new 9-card spread I learned, and it's really fun. Okay, so let's see collectively our inner self. Okay, information's coming in. The wind's going our way now. Yeah. Well, today was a remarkable day because all of these papers, double digits, all across this nation, get front page on all these papers. We are not the enemy of the press. We are not the enemy of the people, rather. The press has said that. And this is the Chariot. Beautiful. See, they're not controlling. There's no reins in his hands. This is Earth School, black and white. Look, Ma, no hands. Okay, here we are now. When hell freezes over, we'll skate. America's resilient. You know, I love monkeys too much, but one monster don't stop no show. Remember that? One monkey don't stop no show. If you don't want my love, and let me know. Oh, wow. Things are going to get better. Ooh-wee, child. Things are going to get easier. Yeah, the pendulum is going to swing the other way. It really bothered me a lot. I didn't vote for Donald Trump, of course. I voted for Hillary, but they were keeping on. Every time they kept on saying for Bernie Sanders, "Oh, he's too to the left." Oh, no more. That pendulum is the law is going to swing way to the left, and so bear with it. Bear with it and get out there. I tell you, well, we live in Oz still. You know, San Francisco is pretty much Oz. The work to be done now is realizing, you know, the knowledge. We got a lot of knowledge. It's making that knowledge. Wisdom by itself ain't going to do nothing. We have to make that, you know, we know we got what we got to do. We know. So, you know, when I'm working on a case and they're in the hospital and this guy's dying or this woman's dying, and I work on their chakras and they feel better, and they say, "Will you come back in the morning?" Or come back tomorrow, and then the next day I wake up, I don't want to get up and go all the way out to that, but I do it when someone, I give my, that was we're talking 40, 30 years ago. But I realized that's why people's word doesn't mean much. If a man's word doesn't mean anything, what have you got? You know, that's pathetic. That's just so sad. You know, I don't hate Donald Trump. His son said when he was 4 years old, his father sat him down. I saw this video yesterday it was on MSNBC or CNN or something. And his father, he was being interviewed by Anderson Cooper or somebody, or no, it was somebody on Fox. And he was really opened his heart up. And he said his father, when he was 4 years old, his father told him, "Don't do this, don't do that. And above all, don't trust anyone." And then a minute later, he would say, "Trust me, Donnie?" And he'd go, "Yeah." He said, "What did I tell you? Don't trust anyone." That's why I mentioned The Grifters. You know, Angelica Houston. It's a great movie. You movie buffs out there. I don't know about Netflix, but I hear it's easy. Yeah, my computer got hacked, and I'll get on my feet again. So remember, Mercury goes direct on the 18th, evening of the 18th. So when you wake up, what is that now? Mercury goes direct on Saturday the 18th, 9:25 p.m. here in California. So then you could go business as usual. This has been a very intense 3 weeks of Mercury retrograde. I can't tell you all the. It started off with last week, 2 weeks ago, with Mercury retrograde, that intense call I got. It's been intense. I'm not going to judge it. It was good, but wow, I'm looking forward to Mercury going. I've had a chance to rethink, revisit, and redo. Actually, a lot of things I thought was like solid decisions, and dead relatives came through and begged me to change my mind about this or that. It was an intense time for me. I was enjoyable, though. I feel better now that it was wise choice. I don't think human beings left to their own devices are meant to be that way. This Donald Trump is what happens when thy will runs wild. Yeah, I don't know what happened to him. Something happened along the way, but I know what happened to Donnie there. So when you think about child abuse, when it got, I'm a victim of, I'm not a victim anymore. I, like Rabindranath Tagore, have turned my wounds into, they remind me of how conscious I am, and I wouldn't be without that. So fasten your seatbelts, resist violence, and but get out there, and do whatever you can to call people out when they lie right to your face, and say things like, "Oh, Ed Lee was the best mayor." We had the people's sheriff, Ross McEreevy, and Ed Lee got rid of him and replaced it with a skinhead neo-Nazi. And then we get this mail now. We got a really piece of work who's actually lies to the people. It says, Ed Lee, I don't know what planet you're living on, Miss London Bree there, but many of my friends, our experience of the departed Ed Lee was good riddance. Maybe now, the homeless can find a place and we can get on with our healing, because enjoy it while you got it, London Bree, because I think we're going to have Mark Leno or Jane Kim would be a lot better. That's how I feel, and I'm not going to be afraid of London Bree or anybody. And Gavin Newsom couldn't even stand to be in the same room with us. Thank you. I love you. Bye. Yeah, I went overboard. I went overboard.